Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. It is another live stream episode and we're talking about doing a custom acrylic panel for the power system. So if you've looked at old live streams in the past or when I was working on Marine One, we created this and it's just a really cool panel. It's just acrylic, it's a 1/4 inch, and then what we had the graphic shop do is a logo, our Odyssey Custom Vans logo, and we did it in an etched glass. So this is super cool. It's backlit with red LEDs, and you can actually do whatever color you want. You can do an RGB, so you can change the color. And the way you make it look this way is the LED is on top facing down. So if you ever go to any convenience stores and you see the little fridges and they're kind of glowing, that's how they create that effect. So today I'm finishing up a panel and wanted to show you guys what it takes to create that, a little bit behind the scenes. And I went ahead and started on it yesterday. Let's see, I'm going to go to a little video here. See if I can pull it up. So I was going to make this into a video. Instead, what I'm going to do is just show you some time lapse of how I created it. So let me slow this down. So the first thing you're doing is you're starting out with a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. You can use birch or oak or maple, anything that's pretty rigid is kind of what you want to go for. Don't really worry about weight too much because you're going to be cutting the middle of this out and it's not going to weigh that much. The first step I did was I took a hole saw and I marked out where this middle panel is going to be cut out. Now obviously the first thing you're going to start with is you want to measure the box. So for example, this profile up here is where we have a piece of 80/20, so you want to have the framing measured out first. So let me fast forward just a little bit. We'll get in the van so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So this is what we're going for. So this is going to go across here, and it's going to showcase our Victron cover, our 2 Renogy DC to DC chargers, and then over here we got our Renogy Rego 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter, and we got the indicator light down here at the bottom for some information. So this is going to be functional because we'll see the input and output of the inverter if you want to. And you can check these little kind of Christmas tree lights from the Renogy DC to DC charger. These are important because, or they're helpful because at a glance you can actually see the status. So the blue light on the right is indicating that we are in lithium charging mode. So for example, we're going to have a lithium battery. It would be a different color if it was lead acid or a sealed battery, for example. The green light actually indicates that our engine battery has been topped off. So if you don't know, these Renogy DC to DC chargers, they'll actually top off once your main system is fully charged. It'll take the solar and trickle charge your engine battery, which is a really cool feature. So when that light turns green, that means your engine battery is topped off, it's good to go. One LED back from that, we get into our solar panel. So right now it's receiving the light from the shop, so that's why it's red. And then further back you'll have another red LED, and that will tell you if your alternator is having an input charge. But what we're doing right now is this outer frame is what we're using as our kind of footprint for this. Now there's not going to be anything in the middle, so I went with a flush or a non-grooved 3-sided piece of 15 series 80/20, and by doing that, this will allow us to have that nice clean look. Yeah, so this is what we're working with. I'm going to move over to the second camera and I'm going to show you where we're going to be placing the logo and then some other details. And if you guys hear some noise in the shop, Nova, she's grabbing some dog food right now, so might sound a little crazy. All right, so we've got our etched glass logo. We'll save that here for just a minute. And then we have our panel. Now this panel, what I've done is I've taken the exterior paint and I've painted it just to seal it up. You don't have to paint your panels in your van, but what I like to say is anything that's really close to a door or the sliding door, it's just a good idea to seal it somehow. This other side is black, and that's on purpose because when you have this piece of acrylic, you can either paint the acrylic right here or you can paint this inner channel. Because when we do our upholstery, I'm probably going to cut the upholstery right here so that it doesn't touch this side. It's only touching the mating surface of this. And I'm going to do that because I want this panel, I've recessed it more than 1/4 of an inch because the Renogy DC to DC chargers are actually poking out a little bit. So when I was putting this in the van, these two DC to DC chargers, I wonder if I caught that on camera. Anyway, these had to bump out another 1/8 of an inch, which was kind of annoying, but that's because when I put this in, when I insulated the wheel well, it just gave me, I couldn't compress it enough, and we needed a little bit of relief, so we did have to loosen these two DC to DC chargers, and they're actually protruding 1/8 of an inch. So a little nitpicky, but as you can see, the thing I always tell you guys is, everything in a van affects everything. So since we had to move those DC to DC chargers out just ever so slightly, it's now, we're having to recess this whole piece of plexiglass, and that's just to do the right thing so, we don't have this pressure of the plexi touching the DC to DC charger. All right, let's hop on over to this camera. And the first thing we're going to do is going to take this out because we're not going to use this for a minute. And so we're going to start working with our frame. And I'm going to show you a time lapse and quickly walk you through it to show you. Here we go. So let me slow it down. So we've got our piece of panel. We know what size we want. We went through and marked out where the 80/20 support is. And you really need to find out how you're going to mount this before you kind of cut your window out. This back side, which is the right side of it, that's 1.5 inches, but this left side over here, we have 2 pieces of 80/20. We have the one piece that's 1.5 inches, but then we have a 1/2 inch section that is where our disconnect is, so we had to extend this. So to cut these holes out, a little cheat is to take a hole saw and just drill these so you get this radius nice and clean. That way you're not having to jigsaw the radius. So do a hole saw in the corners, and then take a track saw if you have one, and just go through and make these straight lines. It's really going to help out on the upholstery. If you have some rippling going on with the upholstery, sometimes it's very noticeable, depending on how thick your upholstery is. So the Marathon fabric is not too thick, so any imperfection, sometimes you may see it, especially if it's a lighter color. So I went ahead and went through and cut everything out, and then I took a jigsaw and I just went through and cut the little, 1/4 inch pieces that were holding it together, and then it came out. Next step is to go ahead, and if you messed up like I did in this corner, you take some spackling. Now the spackling is just because I cut a little bit more. I cut like 1/8 of an inch. I nicked 1/8 of an inch. Spackling is a good trick to just fill in a gap so that when you go to upholster it, there's not a dip in that hole. It gives it something to support underneath it. As you guys see, I like using used brake rotors. They're just an easy way to lay down and hold a piece of material while I'm working on it. So I took all the splinters off, sanded that, and then what I'm doing now is I'm taking a, it's a, let's see what it's a half inch, no, a 1/4 inch router bit that is a half inch. It goes half inch in, but you can adjust the depth, and it begins at a 1/4, but you can actually do more if you need to. So that's what I did. I started at a 1/4 depth, 1/4 inch depth, and I went around the whole entire outside, and I did it, twice just to make sure. What I'm doing now is I'm measuring to make sure that my acrylic is going to have enough room to move, because once you put the upholstery on there, you can be as perfect as you want to be. However, you need to kind of bake in some wiggle room top to bottom. So what I do is I just estimate and try to get a 1/4 inch of movement. So that's 1/8 inch on each side. That way, when I put the upholstery on, it's going to take up 1/8 inch, and then I'll have a final just 1/8 inch or 1/16 inch of movement. So even though it's not hard to upholster, you still need to be very precise, because you're adding the layers and then you're adding the piece of acrylic. So you don't want to have a headache when you've upholstered everything, it's glued, and then now you don't have enough room for your piece of acrylic. This acrylic it's pretty expensive. A piece of this that's a 2x4 foot sheet is anywhere from $60 to $70, sometimes more, especially for a 1/4 inch piece. And you don't want to mess it up by, when you're cutting it, you need another 1/8 inch and you start chipping it. So acrylic's easy to cut in one go, but when you go back to make modifications, it's not good. All right, so went ahead and did that, measured, and I went through, and just nice and easy with the track saw, I cut the side, and then I went to the other side and cut it. Next step is I'm taking a marker and I'm tracing where my hole saw cutouts are. Now, since I gave myself some more wiggle room, when I trace this and I cut it out with the jigsaw, I'm going to come on the inside of the line, and then that's going to allow me to keep that gap. So at the end, there you go. Everything fits nice and flush, but I still have wiggle room, so that's what you want. Then let's see, this one right here. So now I come into the shop, and I've got the piece of wood here. I'm going to go through and I'm going to paint the inside just so that it's black, and if you can't see down through the crack of the plexiglass, it hides any type of epoxy that we use and where we cut off the fabric. And then we're just going to take our exterior paint and just paint on the top. And that's it. And we're just going to let it dry, and now we're back to present day, where we are getting ready to upholster this. So we're going to go ahead and start to upholster this now. Everything's ready to go. The final step that I did not show on the video was make sure you test fit all of your bolts right here that go through and attach to the 80/20. So when we have this panel, there's a piece of 80/20, and you need to make sure that you use the right depth of bolt for your not only the fabric you put on here, but to make sure it doesn't bottom out. So this is bottoming out, but I think I'm going to be okay, because I'm going to be able to, I have double fabric on each side, and I think it's going to be able to take up that gap. It did it in Thomas's van, so I should be okay with this one. All right, so we're doing that, and then not only this, so this is okay because I can move it left to right, but then I have two holes here, and it's really important to make sure you get these perfect, because once this goes in here, it needs to line up with this 80-20 that's on this other side to give it support. And you just need to go back and forth and make sure you cut out the holes, take your time. And then when you do this, kind of round the holes out on the piece of wood just to give you a little, just an ever so slight bit of play. Because these are 5/16-18 stainless steel button head screws. And if you drill the hole perfect, you may not be able to adjust this when you get an 80-20. You just need, just take your drill bit and kind of round it out a little bit. All right, last, before we actually spray this, is make sure your orientation is correct. Pre-cut out your fabric that you're going to be using. It just makes it easier to work with. And by your holes, make sure, again, your orientation, like keep it fresh in your mind, because even though you've cut this piece out and technically it can go this way or this way, what I know about myself is when I go and trace this out in a permanent marker, I've made this one custom to this radius, to this one. So it's better just to put a T on here and say this is the top. And then now I know that when I put this in here, that's the top. This is the top of the frame originally, and I'm back where I started. All right, so we're going to take this and we need to move this away. We don't want to get any overspray from the 3M spray. We're going to take all this away. The Super 77 is what we're going to be using. So if you guys have seen this red can, you do not want to use the 3M 90, the green can. Don't use it. It's not made for upholstery. I know I see some people using it, but it's not. I have not had success with it. How about that? All right, so here's this. And we're going to zoom in with the camera for a couple close-ups here. And if you can, I'm going to go get a brush, because we want to take our brush and get all the dust off. Because believe it or not, almost like doing vinyl graphics, if you have a piece of dust or a piece of wood, it's going to make a little bump in your upholstery. And if you guys have seen last videos, once you've done your upholstery, sprayed your adhesive and put it on there, you can't really go back. Now, if you guys are really paying attention to this, you'll see I have a double hole here. So I needed to adjust this hole down to a lower level because it's interfering with a right angle bracket. I did not do the what am I trying to say? The spackling on here, because I didn't know which one I wanted to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm using the bottom one first, and I'm going to get that in there. And then to learn from my mistake, you don't want to, I can remake this panel if I mess this up, in like 30 minutes. So no big deal, but I just offset this down. If you put this on here and you bring it tight around there, you're not going to see any type of imperfection like that. So as long as you don't roll this down on there and you keep it nice and taut, you can hide any type of imperfections that you've made where it would take you a long time to go back. So, all right. The first thing I do is I'm going to, really make sure that all of my tools are not on the table. Make sure all your stuff around your shop is covered up. So we're good to go. we want to go ahead and get some nitrile gloves. It's not sponsored, but these Venom Steel are great. They're really good. We've already got our Super 77. The Krylon Fusion is what I like to use for the matte black paint, if you guys were interested. And then later we're going to be using the JB Clear Weld to set our acrylic panel in. Now when you use these nitrile gloves, the spray adhesive doesn't stick to them. It's really cool. You can just like rub it right off. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, shake this up. And I do have the live chat open, so if you guys have any questions, van related, just put those in the chat. I'll go over and check them out tonight. When I get to actually cutting this, I will change the camera angle. When you open up the Super 77, at the top there's a little black dot, and you want to align the arrow to the black dot. I'm not sure why, but that is just that's the right thing to do. Next, I'm going to spray the 3M I just said 3M90. The Super 77 on here, and make sure we got everything in frame. There we go. And what's kind of cool is if you do when you spray this outside, do the face first, and then what you can do is you can lift this up and just sit it somewhere, and then there's going to be this haze of an outline, and then you'll be able to know where to spray to get your adhesive on the on this. And we're going to do 2 or 3 passes, and we want to wait 30 seconds to a minute between each pass, so that this can, off gas. All right. If you got a new can, just kind of spray it in the middle, just to make sure it's coming out clean. And on this one, we want to pay attention to the top. We don't really care about the sides. We'll get the sides when we actually flip this over and stick it down. So this top surface is what we're focusing on, not the sides or the inside. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure it's the same orientation so we don't mess it up. We'll start over here on the left, and then we'll just start coming down. And I'm going to keep going and applying some more, but if you've never done this before, just take your time, because you want to hold this off of the surface to where you don't get bubbles. So if you saw when I started hesitating, I went back here and I've got some bubbles over here. The problem with the bubbles is if you get this, instead of just being like a fine mist, if you get it with the bubbles, it actually will not stick. It's kind of a weird phenomenon. I don't know what it's just weird, but it won't stick. Because if I put my hand right here and I touch these right now and I put the fabric on it, it'll come off. So you don't want to overdo the spray, and you want to keep it up, you don't want to actually have it close, you want to keep it up pretty high, so something like that. And I'm not waiting the 30 seconds to a minute, because what I'm doing is I've done this enough to where, go by the instructions your first time. So wait a minute, let it come off. I'm going to keep going because, I don't want this live stream to be forever. But you can do more, but there will be a moment here in just a second where I'll have to stop and really let it air off so it actually works well. And so what I want to do is I just want to get like this haze on here. I want to make sure that I'm not, you know, making it bubble up. And all of a sudden it'll kind of start to be this like matte white color. And as soon as you get that matte white color, I'm just going to come over here to some spaces that need it. Once you get this matte white, and make sure it's not puddling up, but you get this nice matte finish of this, you're good. So just wait a minute and then you can continue. So right now I can't spray anymore because it'll mess the whole process up. While that's doing that, I'm just going to gently lift this up to show you. You see how it makes an outline? So when we take this piece of wood off and we let it sit after we're done spraying it, and we go to add the spray adhesive here, see how it makes this outline? That is how you kind of cheat and see what line to follow. Or at least that's how I do it. All right. So you guys got to entertain me. I need some questions. So ask me some questions in the chat while we are waiting for the adhesive to off gas. I don't know if you caught at the beginning of the build, but we've sold the other van. So that proposal I was talking to you guys about, where we were doing the floor plan, so that's actually turned into a custom build, and we'll be doing that over the next couple months. And right now I've ordered the start of the order, so like the big items. And then the next step is pretty much to wait for the shipping to come in. So within the next 2 weeks, that equipment will be coming in, and I'll start to form the final plan of how I'm going to approach it. If I'm going to do the roof first, AC, vent, stuff like that. My approach is anything that I'm cutting metal or grinding, that is the first thing that happens. So max fan, air conditioning port, all the windows, the Webasto heater that's going under the seat, anything that is grinding metal and needs to have all that, kind of mess in the van temporarily, that's first. Vacuum it all up, do rust preventative, and then we'll move on to the next process. So the way that I'm approaching this build is we're actually starting out with the roof rack first, because we're going with the Onaka. So if you guys watch Nate from Explorers.life on YouTube, I'm sure you guys do if you're watching this channel as well. They teamed up with Onaka, who makes custom roof racks, and they developed a system to where you can maximize you can put the most solar on a Ford Transit high roof 148 that's currently possible. So it's 500 and I think it's 570 watts, and that's two 200 watt panels, 255, and a 230 watts. I forgot what it was when I ordered. But there's 6 panels up there. There's enough room for the max fan and then a X3 from Pneumatic Cooling air conditioning unit. However, we're going to be using the X2 system, and if you guys get really excited, we're going to be doing an EcoFlow power kit. So really excited about that, because the EcoFlow now has a way to use one of the battery ports, and they supply you with a 48 volt cable coming from there, and we're going with a 48 volt version of the X2 pneumatic cooling rooftop unit, which is extremely efficient. The 12 volt that's on the van behind us, it's very efficient, but the X2 is even more efficient. So it's really cool where all the technology is going these days as far as off-grid systems to put into vans. Let me spray this and I'll keep talking. That was perfect timing. There we go, hold on. Bear with me, guys. I got to go back and fix the camera. I'll make sure I get one more coat of adhesive on here, and then we'll talk vans. All right, let's get this camera back. There we go. All right, one more minute and we will continue with our build here. Yeah, so what we're going with is 48 volt EcoFlow. We're going to do the 5 kilowatt hour, which is equivalent to 416 amp hours. So just a little over 4, regular batteries in the van, 100 amp hour batteries. The game changer is that it's the efficiency of a 48 volt system. So the higher the voltage goes, the lower your current. So the wire gauge is much lower, and so it really bumps up the efficiency. So I still got to get numbers for this guy to show you on the Dometic RTX 2000. So we'll be able to test that one, and then we'll also be able to test the X2 and get a difference to see which one you guys might want to go with for your van system. But yeah, really excited to use to get the EcoFlow. Heard a lot of good stuff about it, a lot of good reviews, good videos. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move this. All right, we got a question? I just saw it popped up. Oh, go and do. I forgot that you had EcoFlow. So I haven't installed it yet. I'm excited, but I haven't installed it yet. So we'll, yeah, go and do. I know you're enjoying your system. So, and you had the Indel B AC unit. Do you have the 12 volt or the 12, 24, or 48 volt system? I forgot which one you had. All right, let's move this to a temporary safe space. I said safe space, safe place. All right, I'm just gonna put this over here. So that's getting tacked up. So now we're going to do the same thing here, and we want to make sure this is all nice and shaken up. Remember, not close, want to stay far away. I mean, not too far away. And I may only go 2 rounds on this one. This one is getting pretty tacky pretty fast. Okay, wood is going to absorb it differently. If the wood is not painted, then it's actually going to absorb this, and it's going to tack up much quicker. I have it painted and sealed, so that's how I'm able to run around, and it's not actually soaking in there too fast. Now we're back to a fabric, and the fabric is sucking it in really quick. So that can be misleading because you think you're okay and you can add more, but then you're going to get it, instead of it being tacky like it's designed to be, it's going to be, liquid, and it's not going to work. It's a very strange product. I don't know how to explain it, but if this is liquid, when you spray it on here and you get it too wet, it won't stick. I've had a spot that was like a big bubble that I accidentally made, and that spot would not stick down. So, all right, we've waited a couple seconds. We're just going to do one more in the middle with that uniform kind of matte white look. Okay, that's it. Now, we will not be doing any more adhesive on this because we've already saturated this as much as possible. The reason we want to wait a minute to 30 seconds between each coat, and why you guys should do it, is because you do not want to go into the other side because it will ruin your fabric. And you also want to be using a fabric that has some type of, this has some type of, I don't know what kind of finishing they do, but there's some type of finish on here that helps to have the glue not penetrate so quick through it. So just pace yourself, and let's see what Go and Do said real quick. 12 volt, perfect. So Go and Do went with the 12 volt Indale B, and that is a super efficient rooftop AC. Yeah, I've got an opportunity to do the pneumatic cooling, so I want to try it because it's they're actually it's not available right now. I think it's at the end of December is when they'll actually have them in stock. So I'm kind of got my place in line, making sure that I get this. PAX to work. Oh, hey, John. No, I think PAX is just going to chill out. I don't think he's gonna. Well, he's not gonna get to work today. So we've got another dog in the shop. So let's see if I can go down. There you go. There he is. Nova's somewhere else. Let me get my camera back. All right, let's keep on going. It's been about a minute. Let's hop on back over here. Okay, moment of truth. Now, if you've never done this before, this part might be stressful to you. What we really want to make sure is we want to make sure that we've got this really tacky. And I feel pretty good about it. So before I get ahead of myself, we want to touch this, and we want to make sure that when we touch it, it tacks up like that. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a pro tip. So let's say that you guys you're doing this at home, and you had to go and get a call in the house, or you had to hop in the car, or something happened to where you had to run away from this, and you didn't come back in time, and it doesn't feel like it's sticky. So this is actually a perfect scenario. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take an extremely light mist of this, and it's kind of going to it's going to reactivate the adhesive. So just kind of spray it and just do a quick, just like that. So just a quick mist. And then what that's going to do is it's going to bring back that tackiness here. All right. And so usually I would just go for it, but I'm trying to make sure I give you guys some good teaching points. All right, so now we're going to go through, and since we have that little outline, we're going to be able to, so before we put this down, I should have mentioned this before, the grid on here, you want to make sure you're aligned to the grid. So when you cut your fabric, make sure it's as square as possible, so that this, when you achieve a right angle look. Don't do this and just kind of put it down haphazardly. You'll notice it if you do that. All right, so we're going to start over here in this bottom right corner, and then we're just going to come down. Then we're just going to let it fall down. Okay. And then we're just going to get tacked up. And then we're going to go underneath here, and don't roll it up here yet. All we want to do is just kind of make sure that it's stuck to the frame and we didn't mess up and get like a little bubble or a crease or a hump, something like that. But we're not ready to actually fold it over. And the reason is, should be obvious, we don't have any adhesive on here. So, two more things. Let me see if I'm going to zoom in. We're going to get detailed now. So let's zoom in here. All right, let me get some focus. There we go. need to brighten it up a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right. Let me see if I got any questions. We're doing good, guys. We got a couple people on the stream tonight. So, all right. How's our video look? Good. All right. Let's get to details. So this is a good piece because it's more complicated than you would have if you had your other upholstery unit. Upholstered panel. If you're doing a wall panel, this is way more harder than a wall panel. So if you guys can do something like this, then you're doing great. Okay, so what do we need to do? Why is Nick zooming in? I'm zooming in because, let me get some type of pointing device. This might work. So right here, we've got the channel where the plexiglass is going. So I want the fabric to roll over, but I don't really want it to touch this side right here. Because I don't want to get adhesive right here. This channel right here is where my epoxy is going to hold this in. So what I want to do is I want to take some tape. And I prefer that you guys use masking tape, not painter's tape. You guys know how I hate painter's tape. If it's not the green tape, I don't like it. That's because this is not for what we're doing. It doesn't hold very well or stick very well. And it gets really frustrating when you're kind of in the middle of working. So we're going to take it. Now you don't have to be so OCD like I am. I'm just showing you how to get, I would call it a perfect result. So if you want a perfect result, follow what I'm doing. All right, so we're doing this. This is going to protect our place where our epoxy is going to hold, because I don't want the epoxy interacting with the spray adhesive that we're going to use. So we're going to work on the inside first, pulling the fabric over, and then we're going to cut it on this edge, peel the, I may change my process, but it doesn't matter. You guys are here live, so. We're going to do one side first. We're either going to do the inside, fold it over, or we're going to do the outside, fold it in. We have to do both, so it doesn't really matter where we start. Yeah. But guys, ask questions in the chat. I'm going to go check them. As soon as I finish this tape, I'm going to hop in the chat, answer some questions, and then we'll get back to this. So. And hopefully you guys understand that what I'm doing is not necessary. This is to show off. You know, this is to show off like a cool, you know, the power system in your van, you know, show off the cables and all the lights and stuff like that. So this is not necessary for a normal DIY build. But if you're doing a DIY build and you like to have that cool, you know, custom look, then this is a way you can definitely achieve it. You know, some people want the power system incognito. They don't want to show it off. And that's completely cool. You know, just have it nice and minimal. Or you can show off the power system that you purchased. All right, I see a question. I'm going to answer it in just a second. All right, what we got here? Yes. So Go and Do's question was, have you thought about epoxy countertops I'm going to try to do a dirty pour with whites and blues and grays and blacks. Hopefully it will be a showpiece of the van. So I do have some pro tips for you with the epoxy. So we did epoxy clear for Thomas's countertops in his van. He wanted that super clean, bar top, like deep gloss top. So you can do it. Dust, so prep is the key. You want to make sure everything is super prepped. One thing you want to do is you want to get a wood, like a water-based wood sealer, and you want to seal the wood before you put the epoxy in there, because you don't want the epoxy to pull in, and then, believe it or not, as it cures, it might actually cure uneven. So you want to do a wood sealer first. I wonder if I did a video on this, I'm not sure. It might have been a live stream, I'm not sure. But you want to seal the wood so that the epoxy can't suck into it. And then once you have that, you're gonna, before you do your epoxy, you're going to take a tack cloth, and you want to get a tack cloth and get all the dust off of it. And then you actually want to make something, I call it a coffin. You want to take a cardboard box that is the same size as it, and you want to have something so that when you pour the epoxy, hold on, let me back up. First, you want to do a flood coat. So you're going to get all your colors and flood, pour it all over the table, and it's going to drip over the edges. So you want the table elevated, and you can use those little tints that they use to paint cabinet doors. So when you spray cabinet doors, there's like these little tints, right? These little plastic cups that look like a tent. They're orange, and you put the table in there. And you need a piece of plastic, heavy-duty plastic, to hold all that epoxy that's going to run over. And then the most critical part is that coffin box that I'm talking about. You want to have this box so that when you do your pour, you want to immediately put the box on top of what you epoxied. Because what's going to mess you up is dust from your house or your garage or whatever is going to settle onto that epoxy that you did. And it's just, you'll barely see it, but you can do a pro job if you have this little cardboard box on top of it. So that's my pro tip for epoxy. So hope that helped you guys out. Okay, let's get back to the box over here. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll do this inside first. All right, number one rule when I have about doing upholstery is we need to make sure we have a brand new blade, very sharp blade. Not sponsored, but OLFA. These are Japanese steel. And it's just what you want to use. They're extremely sharp. And the sharper, the better. Because what's going to happen here is this is just the way it is, but this is going to get clogged up with glue or adhesive, and you're going to have to break these blades off. The reason I harp about having like really sharp blades is this fabric has Teflon in it, this Marathon fabric. It's very resilient. So if you don't cut the Teflon fibers in here, you'll have a run. So just like this on the side, I don't know if you guys can see, but this right here is extremely tough and strong. So if you don't cut through this, you might create a run, and it might mess up your whole entire, what you've been working on. All right. Let's see what I'm going to do here. I'm actually going to cut this tape. I'm going to cut it in these corners like this, because I want to fold it down because it's going to get in my way when I start doing this. So I'm going to fold it down, and then I'm just going to come through here, do a little crease just to get it out of my way. I don't think it's a big deal if the adhesive, the epoxy touches the adhesive, but I don't want to. I'm on a timeline. I want to make sure this is done and checked off. I can go back and fix mistakes, but sometimes you don't want to do that. Especially for you guys out there, you spend $60 on a piece of acrylic or whatever. You don't want to mess it up. Because there's no screws or anything holding this in. This acrylic will be epoxied to the wood, and that's all that's holding it in. So let's go ahead and we're going to spray on the inside here. Be mindful not to overspray onto your fabric and get it too, gooey, oversaturated with adhesive. Yeah, so let's do that. Here we go. So I gotta be a little careful. This one's bubbling up more than I anticipated, and I think it's because we're forcing so much adhesive on a little area. I don't like to spray it intermittently like that. It's not, you don't want to do that, but because sometimes you can clog this up and then it starts to spit. Okay. We're good. That is good. It looks like maybe on these insides, I need a little bit more. And one thing you do, if you're standing right here and you go like this, you'll tend to put less adhesive down here. So we'll wait 30 seconds. Let's check our chat. All right, looks good. All right, let's keep going here. All right, once we get a minute finished, we're going to take our knife and we're going to cut here, and be careful. We don't want to go too close to this. What can you guys see? So this radius, we don't want to cut all the way to this radius. We want to stay out here, and then we want to aggressively stretch the fabric to get that cup. We don't want it to, we don't have like a little, pizza slice wedge here to where you can see the wood. That defeats the whole purpose of upholstering it. So we're going to wait a minute. And yeah, guys, if you're just joining us, we're doing upholstery for an acrylic panel for a van build. And we're taking your questions. So if you guys have any questions van related, put those in the chat. We've had a couple questions talking about EcoFlow power systems, 12-volt AC, and then also epoxy countertops. So topics completely different than what I'm doing tonight. But over here on the table, we have a frame that's going into a van. And this frame is going to look like this when we get done, or something similar. It's going to be close. But we're taking a piece of, we're taking a vinyl graphic that's an etched glass look. And I'm putting my company logo on it, and it's just a cool way to show off the power system. So that's what we're doing if you guys are just joining the live stream. But yeah, feel free to ask away, ask any questions. So when we come back over here, one thing we need to make sure that we do is double check that everything here is nice and tacky. So it's perfect. This is perfect. Don't want to take our tape off yet. What we're doing now is we're going to start getting our fabric folded over. So we know we're only just going to go over maybe 1/4 inch and then 1/2 inch. So let's make it easier on ourselves. And we're going to find a point to where we can cut out the middle here. So just find a safe place that you know you got enough material to work with. And go ahead and cut you a little square out. And again, that's just going to make it much easier to work with. All right, so now we have this out. Just put it over here. We're going to go do a 45 cut, but this right here, if you guys are looking in this corner, the cut needs to be able to go over this lip into the 1/2 inch part and then a little bit more. So we want to first, the least amount we want to cut is a little over half. So we're just going to cut a safe, 1.5 inches from there. And then we're just going to start working our way in. And it may need us to continue to cut, but we want to cut less before we cut more material. So we're just working on this flap. So we got this flap here. Don't push it over yet. We're going to work from the inside to the outside. And we may have to start to pull this up, but it'll all kind of come together as we bring this together. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of feel right here. When you're on this other side, we want to, this is a challenging part because we want to actually rub our hand across the crease so that we don't smush the fabric, but we actually roll it over tightly so it makes a nice clean edge. So we're just going to come here, just rolling our hand under there. Trust me, if you do the adhesive right, it's going to stick. You're not going to have to worry about pressing it. It's more, you're going to have to worry about, putting too much on too quickly. Because if you do the adhesive right, it's so strong, it actually might rip the wood fiber off of your panel. That's how strong this stuff is when you do it right. So we're going to give us a little bit more. Okay. And you may be pulling at this back section. Don't panic. We can pull this off and then we can do it over again. But this inside is our most important part because this is the part everybody sees. So I just keep stretching it and cutting little by little. You can kind of see I'm actually already using this other side over here to kind of anchor it in as I pull this side in. Yeah, and this one's going to be a tricky one. Yeah, corners like these are really hard because you actually might have to get a roller out. This. Okay, and then when we put the acrylic on here, we'll see how it looks. So we're done with that corner. If you want to, we'll do this when we fold the other side over, but you can put a piece of fabric here to clean this up. But I don't know if that'll actually show up on the camera. All right, let's keep going here. So we're going to go from this side. And we're just taking our fingernail and making our little crease here. And then we're going to take this and we're going to cut our fabric off, but we need to stay in the channel, making sure we got this crease right tucked up in there. And I'm going to cheat for a second and do this, just so I can show you guys what this is going to look like when it gets done. All right, so once you get finished with that, this will peel off, just like that. And so see, you're gonna have this super clean edge. Because one thing we wanna do is we want the epoxy to touch the wood, we don't want to touch this. But since this is live, I can't fast forward it to show you what the end looks like, so you guys are just gonna have to hang out. So if you guys have any questions, put those in the chat. I'm gonna back this up a little bit. And we'll keep it there. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking for a minute so I can quickly knock this out. Keep going on this stream. I have to take back what I said on these corners because they are not really doing, they're not folding in as like I would like them to. I'm having to force them way more than I usually do, so. So in the corners, I'm probably gonna have to come by with, what you can do is you can reuse these extra pieces of fabric and cut this out and then kind of fold it over in there because there's enough adhesive to do that. We'll have to wait till we flip it over. It might be fine. I'm not sure yet. Make sure that's in focus. Move the camera. Yeah, so these pieces right here, what you do, I don't think I have a piece. Let's see. We'll do that when we get done. But you can take another piece, spray it even if you need to, and just put it down in there and press it, and it'll lock itself into place. Also, make sure your table's clean. I know my table looks really dirty, but this is from like painting and everything, so this is not coming off onto the fabric. But if yours is dirty and you're moving it and not, it might mess your fabric up. Trying to see if I can make this better down here. I don't think so. me give you guys a quick preview. So I think these corners I'm going to have to, let's see, they're probably okay when the acrylic gets on there, but they're much tighter than I anticipated they'd be. All right, before we get too far, let's just go ahead and fix those. I'll show you how to fix this if you do what I just did. So we want to take a piece of scrap right here, and we just want to, actually, let's use this. And so I'm going to spray some adhesive on here and use this as my little template to cut out on. So I'm going to take this away. Okay, we're just going to let that dry for a second. All right, so if you're not happy with the way it looks, what I'm doing is how you can fix it. So I told you not to spray on an area that you're working on, but I'm fixing what I did over here. Make sure it's in focus. All right. So very lightly, you just want to spray this top part right here. So I just want to hit it. There you go. That's all we want to do. We just want to put a little adhesive in that corner. So take your tape off. I guess this would be like upholstery surgery right here. This is not necessary, but I think since you guys are watching, this might be some help for you. All right, so keep looking at this corner. All right, so we got like an inch by an inch or something like that. All right, so I'm gonna take this little swatch here. And so if you have a hard corner or something like that you messed up on, this is the way you want to fix it. So we're gonna take this and we're just gonna put it in here just like that. And let's just do that. Okay, this is why you want these blades super sharp. You just want to come in. Okay. Then what we're going to do is just going to get these pieces stuck in with the adhesive. Then cut this excess out. And that's pretty much it. It's easy as that. You may need to actually take some trimmers and trim up this right here. Okay, so now that corner is completely, it's over the edge and it's on the inside. So now when we put the piece of plexiglass on there, it's going to have a nice finish. All right, so I'm going to come back to that. Let's keep moving, and we're going to do these outside edges. So the first thing we need to do is move. Probably need to move the camera. Let's see here. There we go. If you're careful, you won't get it onto this right here, just because we're doing this inside. And we want to spray like this. We don't want to get it on that back side. Still got the chat open if you guys have any questions. So ask away. Now you are getting some overspray here. So just make sure you keep this square. Don't get this messed up now, because now you got that. Now there's adhesive on it. It's getting there. Another 30 seconds. All right, guys, I got a couple more people are coming into the live stream, so welcome everyone that's coming on. We're working on doing an acrylic panel. We're kind of going for this. So we did this in one of our previous builds. We have a etched glass logo that goes on the inside of the acrylic, and then we're actually routed this and flush mounting this inside so that it's nice and clean looking. So we got different color fabric. We're working with a heather gray marathon fabric. So that's what we're working with right now. And if you guys are just joining us, we are doing some live upholstery. So if you have any questions on how to do upholstery, the chat's open. Love to hear your questions. They don't have to be related to the upholstery that I'm doing today. So as you guys can see, we're talking about the EcoFlow system. We're talking about AC unit, 12 volt, epoxy countertop. So fan related questions are welcome. If you guys have a question, ask it in the chat. I'm gonna go back over here. We got a separate camera that is showing us what we're doing here. And we're in our final stages of wrapping this up, and we're getting ready to actually put the piece of acrylic on here. So yeah, stick around if you are just now joining. You'll actually get to see a finished product here. Now we won't be able to show it being put into the van because I have to do 2 epoxy pours. So the first one right here is going to be with this. That's to set the piece of acrylic, and then the final bit will be later. We'll do another live stream tomorrow. And the reason we got to do 2 is because we got to do 2 epoxy. We got to make sure that the epoxy sets twice. The reason we're doing that is when you're working with something like this, I'm going to zoom the camera back out so you can see me talk. There we go. So when you guys are doing this, let's make sure our lighting's good. There we go. So the light piece of epoxy pour is going to make sure that the acrylic gets set in place, but we don't want it to ooze underneath the acrylic and come out the other side, because that would ruin all of our progress. So we're just making sure that we don't do something like that. Now what I'm doing is I'm just wrapping the back side of this. So we don't need this anymore. Yeah, but if you guys have any questions, ask them in the chat. That's what these nightly or afternoon, weekend live streams are for. Help you guys if you have any van build questions. Okay. Now one thing I want to do is I don't want to roll this over. I want a nice clean cut. And for the people just joining, I harp on making sure that we have really sharp blades. This is marathon fabric, and it has Teflon in it. And it actually is not that easy to cut. So we need to make sure that we cut it nice and clean. That way we have clean results. All right, so you can see here, we've done this on purpose to where we've left the wood exposed, the painted wood exposed, because that's where our epoxy is going to bond to. We don't want it, bond. It's going to bond, to the fabric itself, but it'd be better if it touches this this wood, piece of sealed wood. And these corners, we're going to cut a 45 right down to the edge. We're going to peel this back, and then the first fold, you're going to flush cut this edge, just straight down. And then that'll allow you to, when you do this fold, it'll make it look like you know what you're doing. All right, let's cut this out. Okay. And again, this corner, we're just going to go straight down the corner, right on the edge. That way we fold this panel up. All right, that looks good. Now we're going to flip this 180. Remember, if you had a little bit of overspray, it's going to be on your table. And you just want to make sure you're not getting adhesive on the back side, especially if you guys have never done this before. You want to take your time. And just to show you how strong the adhesive is, I accidentally hit this end over, and it's already ripping the wood off. So if you do the adhesion, the spray adhesive correctly, it's pretty tough. All right, same procedure here. We just want to cover up our fabric because we don't want adhesive on the back of the acrylic panel. We only want to use the Super 77, what we're using. We only want that for the fabric. All right, so we're just gonna do a little spray there. All right, pretty good. One hit here. All right. All right, guys, give me these questions. I know we got a couple people in the chat here, so if you have a question, van build. I can even give you an update of what we're doing in the shop. So there used to be 2 vans in this shop. There used to be one parked right over here where Nova's kind of sticking her head out. And so that van is sold, which means we have a new build in the shop, and that's going to start it's going to start as soon as the parts are here, which some of them have already been ordered. They're on their way, which means we have a countdown on the van behind us that we took the Adventure Van Expo. So this panel that we're working on today is on that build. And so once we get that finished up, I gave you guys a sneak peek of the photos. So if you guys are new to the live stream, you guys haven't seen what I do here. Van Builder HQ, this is where we educate you guys on how to build your DIY camper van. And then my business, Odyssey Custom Vans, where we're doing all the work on the vans, is this business. So this is the build that is currently for sale. It's a 2020 Ford Transit, and it has the EcoBoost turbocharged V6. All the details are on the website about everything that's in this van. But if we go down to photos, this is where I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek before we do the formal van tour of the van. So you can see that we have the indoor shower, or the hidden indoor shower. It's going to get a lawn sill black cover, so you actually won't even tell where it is in the floor. It'll be nice and incognito. Flatline Vanco pull-out tray. We've got bamboo accents everywhere. It's kind of the theme of the van. We've got 420 watts of solar up on top of the roof. The MaxFan Deluxe with the Dometic RTX 2000 AC unit. We've got 600 amp hours of lithium iron phosphate, and it's the smart batteries from Renogy. And with the Renogy system, we're actually using the Renogy M1, which is really cool. This controller actually incorporates 3 switches. So we've got a interior lights, indirect lighting for the van on the interior, and then the last one is a Rigid Industries amber light, which is located on the outside of the van. So you can see in this photo, that's that Rigid Industries light. And then we're going to finish it off with a Fiamma F45S awning. And that is the build. We've got actually a Raptor style front grille from the Transit Trail European model. And it actually goes directly into this. So nice updated look. We upgraded the fog lights with a yellow bulb. So instead of the white, or the kind of dim halogen white, we got yellow. It's got a Flatline Vanco Pro roof rack. Flatline Vanco roof rack. And then we have the CRL T-vent windows on both the passenger and driver's side, and the AW 1033 awning style in the back. What's so great about the T-vent windows is that they shed water, so you can actually keep them open when it's raining outside, as opposed to the bunk slider windows, which don't allow that to happen. Shore power, Ravati sink that everybody likes, the very popular Isotherm Cruise 130 stainless steel fridge. We even have a flip and fold seat from Friedman Seating. And yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. So lagoon tables, Scopima swivel seats, a bunch of stuff. If you guys are interested in purchasing this van, you can contact me here. That's my email address, phone number for the shop. Easiest way is to click here, schedule a call, and you can hop right on my calendar. For example, next week, you can just go to Monday. The whole day is open if you guys want to give me a call if you're interested in purchasing this van. Also, if you're interested in doing your own van build, we do have open slots for next year. And call me. We'll get you guys on the schedule. And happy to go over a consultation with you, whether you're looking for the van that's currently for sale or you want to do your own custom build. Be happy to do it. So let's get back over here. Everything's all tacked up, and we're going to pull this. Now I'm pulling it from the bottom up because we don't want to have a crease. We want a crease, but we don't want to see where the crease is. Also, be mindful of how much adhesive you put on here. The longer it off-gasses, or I guess that's the correct term, the more tacky it gets. And there's kind of like a sweet spot, because like I was showing you, almost rip the wood off. It's going to do the same thing to your glove. It'll stick and then your glove will rip off. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, but I mean, upholstery is one of my most favorite things to do in a van. It's really satisfying. I like it a lot. I'm gonna check my microphone. We've been on here for a while. Let's check the mic. All right, I got 2 bars left, so we're doing all right. All right, go and do set is the amber exterior light on my sheet. So the DIY van build cheat sheet is what Go and Do is talking about. So Go and Do, I'm gonna do a little spiel here. There we go. So this is what Go and Do is talking about, guys. It's the DIY van build cheat sheet. It is a curated list of over 250 items that I personally bought in the shop, used on vans. It's just a cool Excel sheet to help get you guys going, and it's free. So all you gotta do is put your name and email address. It'll go right to your inbox, completely free. This is what it looks like on the inside. So I'm going to, let's see if it's in this list. I don't think I've added the rigid. Nope. Okay, so I haven't added that. But this list has a ton of stuff. We've got storage, electrical, all the Renogy stuff, the solar panels, fasteners for the 80/20 hardware, insulation, onboard air compressors, roofing, solar. Most important is tools, guys. All the tools. We've got an awesome blog post coming out really soon. It's going to go through all the tools that I use in the shop. It's going to be very helpful. Okay, water system. Now let's go back to, I'm going to show you what Go and Do is talking about. So let's go to Amazon. And let's type in rigid. Go to Rigid Industries. And you guys can see here, what's cool is a little flag that says when I purchased it. So this is the light. It's a great light. It's nice, low profile, looks really cool. I like the amber because it's a little bit easier on the eyes. You can leave it on while you're hanging out outside. The white one to me is a little too invasive, too in your face. So I like the amber. That's what it looks like. It's got some cooling fins on it because it's a, good performing unit. And typically it's on, so that's the white one you guys can see. It's a little imposing. The amber is what I like. So yeah, this one's not on that list yet, but this is the DIY van build cheat sheet. So put your name and email address, sign up for it. There's another link in the description if you want to check it out. It'll also give you a link to the Van Builder HQ website, which I will just hop on really quick. So this website, I go through in depth. I have people that I meet at trade shows or Venture Van Expo, for example. I go through, talk to them. I get all the info that you guys are looking for as far as wanting to know. Talk to Lithionics in Evergreen, Colorado. We went to a Venture Van Expo. This video will walk you through the whole entire event. And if we come on down here, we got details about Lithionics and yeah, just the whole experience with that. We've got the Ultimate Camper Van Flooring Guide. There's a video where I talk about, I call it the sandwich. So it's all the layers of a van floor from the bottom to the top, including the insulation, the subfloor, and the lawn seal that's epoxied on top. So there's a full live install. So you get to see me do it in real time, and that might be really helpful for you because if you've never done it before, seeing it in real time, you can fast forward to wherever part you're having trouble. And then, stay tuned to the live stream because if you have a question, this is the best time to ask me that question. But Go and Do. I will add that light to the cheat sheet, but really quick, this is, it's the Rigid Industries. Let me see if I can paste this in the message. Okay. Not sure. Okay, good. There you go. So that's the light. You can just do that and then you can find it. All right, back to upholstery. So I'm doing two methods here. I've got a roller, which I somehow, there it is. So the roller, I'm just putting this down to get some good contact. Don't do what I did and roll the edge over. And then I actually take a wrench And I use that to go down my creases. It seems to work all right. All right, be careful, watch your fingers, and sharp blade always. And let's go ahead and cut this out. Don't worry if you cut the wood, it's okay. All right, so we got two sides here. Now what we're going to do is cut our 45. So find your corner. You're going to cut a 45. Again, watch your fingers. And then we're going to cut straight down to create the flap that we're going to fold over here in just a minute. Yeah, another corner, 45. Okay, so that is done. All right, now we're getting step by step, we're getting closer. So what I'm going to do here is I need to fix a problem before it happens. I need to take a piece of scrap. And remember we were overspraying here? So I need to make sure that I don't get this overspray onto my panel. So I'm just going to take this scrap and do that. So we're looking really good. So check that out, you guys can see. It's looking super pro. It's what we want. We're going to fix these corners. That rounded look that I was going for, I would like it to look better. And so we're going to fix it like we did that one corner because it looks good. All right, so we're back over here. Now what we're going to do, use our tape again just to cover this fabric right here where we were working. We don't want to get too much adhesive on it. We're going to change our gloves because they're getting a little too caked up with actually, I need to up the lighting there. Okay. All right, how we doing, guys? If you guys have any questions, put those in the chat. If there's anybody that's on the live stream that's new to the channel, we've got a ton of videos. It's not always a live stream tutorial like we're doing Zone, and I'm working on a project, and I can just let the cameras roll. Because one, I can work, and I make a video, and I answer your questions. So it's a win-win everywhere. Okay, make sure we cover this edge, because it's a pain in the butt if you get adhesive on this. So just, we're just kind of being smart here. First we're going to do this bottom part, and then we'll hit this top part. So again, and we're just going to come here on this inside. And the little overspray is reactivating that adhesive that we had earlier. And then we're just going to come through. There's a final bit of spray there. All right, we're going to wait about a minute. Let's see. Also, if you guys have any suggestions for, here, let me back this camera up. There you go. If you guys have any questions for some future videos, let me know in the comments below. How are we doing? Let's do it a little higher. Always like suggestions for future videos. Making sure. Always got to check the focus on here. All right, this is good. Let's go ahead and take this off and keep going. I'm going to start at the middle. We want to roll from the bottom, so we don't want to mess up and have that weird crease. We want it to be nice and rounded. Now, as you guys, I was telling you earlier, I'm going to take a piece of tape, and before I cover these screw holes right here, this piece of tape is telling me this is the top of the panel. So I can measure with the top of my acrylic. These holes are in the bottom. You need to indicate the top because when you get the upholstery done, you won't see the holes, and you're going to have to find the holes. And if you drilled an extra hole that you don't want to be a cutout hole, you need to know where you're coming from. So tape off the top. Visually kind of just remember where your holes are, so you can indent them, because with this fabric, again, it's got the Teflon. You got to cut it with a razor to get the bolts through. Do not use a drill. If you use a drill in Marathon fabric, it's going to catch one of those fibers and it's going to rip it through the whole entire panel, and you're not going to be happy. So yeah, don't drill through the fabric. You always want to cut it. That's why all these holes are pre-drilled. It's extremely important to pre-drill all these holes. When we get to this corner here, you want to push it up against that 45 and then feel that little bump. And then you're going to want to cut on the outside of it. And I'm going to make this look easy, but it's not that difficult. But by doing that, you'll be able to get a super pro fold here, because we don't want it to overlap, because when we bolt this to our thing inside, we don't want a bulging gap. All right, so let's do this side. Find our 45. Just cut on it. There you go. And then cut up from the bottom to get your edge right here. Lay this down. Find your part in the middle. If you feel your blade getting dull, it's time to go ahead and wear safety glasses. Break the blade off. Okay. There we go. All right, so this side, perfect. Looking really good. Hey guys, wall panels are not this difficult. Do not think that this is how all the panels in your van are. Wall panel is super easy, very easy. This is a technical bunch of recesses, folds, plexi, epoxy. It's a very technical panel. So don't feel like this is the whole van build. If you're watching this and you're like, oh man, I don't even want to try that. All right, do we have any? No questions. Come on, give me some questions. I have to wait. Waiting game. Yeah, so as I'm waiting on this, I got to figure out how I want to lay the shop out. I'm going to redo the layout for the shop. This van, I think I'm trying to figure out where I want to contain all the metal shavings. I'm probably going to do it over there. So I'll probably take this van, and this van's going to go here, like it was at the very beginning of the channel. And then we'll pull in the other van right over there. There we go, go and do. What do I recommend for finishing the back doors, order professional panels, or handmade something? Let me think here. So if I were you, I would do a couple things. First off, so answer this question when you get a chance to type. Are you looking just to insulate the bump out panel of the back door, just that one little section, and not the rest of the door, like where the speaker is and the top? Or do you want to have the whole thing kind of insulated? Because the reason I ask that is there's a material. It's called four-way stretch fabric. It's also known as automotive carpet, but there's a special kind. So this, see if you guys can see that number, okay? So I'll hold this so you can see this number. So I got this off of I think I got this off of Amazon. But this material, it's pretty thick right here. But it's a really cool material because it has a memory to it. So if you sprayed your whole entire back door with adhesive, for example, and you use this product, I'm trying to see if I can show you an example. So I'm just going to kink this product like that. So see how I just made this little part right here? So that part will actually conform to that curve. So if I do this and then I let go, it's going to stay to that contour. I know that's a bad example, but I did that in my Ford Transit, my personal van, the low roof Ford Transit, if you guys have seen it on the channel. I did that to that one, and so basically what you do is so you want to do the whole door so it looks nice on the inside. Okay. So that stuff that I just showed you, it actually does create a little bit of insulation. I do it more for aesthetics, looks. It looks really nice and clean. And let's see what I was saying. Let me see if I have this. This may be on our YouTube channel. Let's see real quick. Let's see here. This is the video tour of my van. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. I'm trying to get all these advertisements. All right, can you see? Yeah, here you go. Okay. So let's check this out. So this is a video that's on YouTube. And, okay, if we go to the back of my van, so pay attention to the walls on the back of the van, on the left and the right-hand side. And let me see if I can pause it. Okay. It's hard to see, but see how that fabric contours to all the curves over here in this right corner? That's what this stuff will do. Let's see. Okay. This is not the best. I'll get this better quality. 2149. Let's try this. Ignore this, whatever I'm doing here. I'm trying to get it to focus on the wall. There you go. Okay. So see how it contours. It just looks really clean. So that's what you're going for right there. Okay, hope that helps. Let's get back to upholstery. Same thing here, going from the middle back to the outside. And we're going to find our 45, cut on our 45, but not cutting our fingers off. Then we're just going to extend the blade out when you cut this outside edge. It's going to give you a really nice slice. And if you're a little timid about that edge corner, if you paint everything underneath the fabric, black, like a matte black like I do, you'll actually have a little bit of forgiveness if you cut too much fabric off when you're doing this whole thing. Okay, so that looks good. Make sure we keep our tape there. All right, so now I'm just going to go through. I'm going to roll everything just one time. Just make sure I'm down. So now is the fun part. We can actually flip this over and finally look at our other side to see how we're doing. You don't have to roll this. I'm just doing this because, I don't know, I try new things here, so it makes sense that I would roll it. Pinch these edges and then take a pair of scissors and then you can just cut the fuzz off. That's going to give you a super clean, very, very professional corner. And don't worry about it framed, because as long as you did the appropriate amount of adhesive, you should be fine. Okay, one more. It's like giving your panel a haircut. All right, I got to get. I'm not ending the live stream. I just have to always check my. Okay, I'm down to 1 bar here, so I'm gonna have to monitor my audio because it's about to go. Okay, I'm doing good. All right, I think I got about a couple more minutes. We're doing good on this panel. So what I'm going to do is, let me turn autofocus on here. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do, can you see? Okay. So off camera, so tonight I'm going to go fix these corners. But before the video ends, let's go ahead and get the reward all you guys have been waiting on. Let's grab this piece of plexiglass panel. Let's sit it in here and let's at least see kind of what it looks like. All right, so we got our T for top. We're going to set it in here. All right, sets in really nice. And let's look here. See if you guys can see that. I'm going to zoom in. All right. Still got my sound. Yeah, we must have had a long stream tonight. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to lean it up against something. We'll talk about it. We'll answer a couple more questions, and then we will call it that for the live stream tonight. And tomorrow we'll finish this, and we'll actually have the plexiglass in here. So let's zoom in and look at our work. Don't worry, I'm going to get this brighter here. There we go. Okay, hold on. Just stay with me. Try not to make you guys seasick here. All right, there we go. So we have, that's what our panel looks like. I think we did a good job. You can see it's nice and clean around all the corners. I'm gonna do a little bit more work on the sides and stuff like that. And then, you guys, maybe you can see this through. So we'll have this, it's really hard to see this. But Odyssey Custom Vans will be like that on the back side. And so everything was done on purpose. You see how this is kind of the same size. But yeah, stay tuned tomorrow. So tonight I will fix those pieces. I will epoxy in the those dips, or epoxy in the acrylic, and then tomorrow everything will be ready to go. We'll do throughout the day. I'll do another coat of epoxy, and when we come back tomorrow, if you guys have any questions on anything, we'll do another live stream. We'll install that and kind of check it off our list. So yeah, any of you guys that made it through the whole entire live stream tonight, I really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you guys like this video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to share this video to anybody that's doing upholstery or they're doing a DIY van build. Love to you know, get good information to people that need it. Check out the DIY van build cheat sheet and the link in the description below. It's completely free. It's got over 250 curated items that I use in the shop all the time on van builds. Easy way to kickstart your DIY van build if you're new to materials, products, and just want to have a place to start. And also, it's brought to you by Odyssey Custom Vans. So my professional van building business. Go to odysseycustomvans.com. Check out the latest build that's for sale. We have a walkthrough from Adventure Van Expo Chattanooga, Tennessee that you guys can check out. It's on the YouTube channel right now. If you guys want to know the information about the van, it's all right here. We've got some photos. They're not the final product, but it's to get you guys excited about this completion. You can contact me, sales@odysseycustomvans.com. That's my phone number. And the easiest way to contact me is through this link here. Click on it, brings up a calendar. You can actually have access to where you click on a day, find a time that's convenient for you. It'll pop up on my calendar and you can get in touch with me. The only thing I ask is read this little section over here just to be prepped and ready for the phone call so we can chat about your about the van that's currently for sale or a custom build that you would like Odyssey Custom Vans to do for you. All right, guys, that is it for me in this live stream. Thank you so much for the questions tonight. Thank you for your questions and yeah, everybody that was here. But we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream.